Hi, Dave from HostAwesome here. In this beginner tutorial, I'll be going over the default WordPress settings. Assuming that we're logged into our WordPress admin, to access our settings, we just navigate over to the left here and click on Settings. So let's get to what these settings are about. Everything is labeled, so most of everything should be pretty straightforward. Fill in your site title and tagline for the site here. These are configured by default to show on each page, so make sure to put a good condensed description of what your site is about here. Your WordPress URL and site URL are usually the same, and probably should be if you're viewing this tutorial. This should be the main address of your website, or a subdirectory or subdomain if you had it installed there instead. Email address should be main address for the site admin, and tick on the membership box if you wish for other users to be able to create a user account on your website. Default role should usually be a subscriber. Depending on what kind of privileges you want your users to have, this can be changed, but it shouldn't be higher than author unless you know what you're doing. Select your time zone, date format, time format, and when the week starts. This doesn't really matter too much. I would just leave it default on Monday and the site language. When you're done, click Save Changes. Next, click on the writing link in your settings. You should generally leave this page unchanged unless you might want to change any of these default post settings. At the bottom, they give you instructions if you wish to make WordPress posts by submitting through email rather than the WordPress admin. If you made any changes, click on Save Changes. Next, click on the reading link in your settings. Depending on your website, you may wish to change how your front page displays. If your site is a blog website, you would probably want to leave it to display your latest posts. However, if the site is for a business, you might want to change it to instead display a static front page, maybe a page that promotes your services. You can select a different page for your posts, for your blog posts if you have them. You can choose how many posts and feed items you wish to show and whether or not here to show the full text of the post or a short summary. If you don't yet wish for the site to be searchable through search engines, you will click here. It would be useful if you're still building a site and don't want to show an incomplete website. Click on Save Changes when you're done. Next, click on the discussion link in your settings. You would want to leave these first three checked if you wish for other users to engage with your website. Here, you would specify the required criteria for posting and a few other options. The way it's by default works pretty well, but you might want to adjust it according to your website. Here, you can choose whether or not you want to receive email when people post comments. If you check your site regularly, this probably wouldn't be necessary. And here is just some basic spam control if you want to manually approve all comments or to allow them after the first approved one. Links and comments are usually pretty closely linked to spam, so you will want to leave this at 1 or 2. And in these two boxes, you would be able to specify moderation or blacklist keywords in comments. An avatar is a little picture that displays next to commenters. You can choose whether or not to display that here. I would leave this at G, maybe PG if you want. And here just to display a default image for those that don't have a custom image. If when you're done making your changes, click Save Changes. Next, we go to Media under Settings. Here, you can control the max display sizes of your uploaded images. Again, unless you have a specific reason to, I would just leave it as it is. And here, the default sorting for WordPress Media is to sort uploads into folders that specify month and year. I would just leave it as it is. Otherwise, if this is unchecked, it would put all of your images into the same folder. This could get to be a problem if you have lots of images. Lastly, we go to Permalinks under Settings. Here, you can change how your post URLs are displayed. The most common setting and the one best for SEO purposes is to set it to just post name. You can choose if you want to add a subdirectory name to your category and tag bases here. When you're finished, click Save Changes. And that's it. That's the end of this video tutorial. Hope it helps.